Yeah, I think we have completely different styles.
Steve now collapsed on by the rest of H2K. That's a triple kill for the Kalista. They can take this Baron for free.
They have a really strong methodical style, going for the objectives.
They definitely like to fight a lot and just start fights out over nothing and out of nothing.
Youngblood gets knocked forward and everyone gets knocked away. That's a double kill for Power of Evil, 7-0-2.
If Power of Evil gets behind, I don't see them doing too much.
We're used to it, so it's not going to be a big problem for us.
That is going to be yet a quadra kill. The Nexus turret melting after all of that.
H2K has always been one of the teams that we have been struggling with. Just keep in mind what we want to achieve.
The Unicorns of Love are onto the Nexus, and they destroy Copenhagen Wolves.
It is going to be better for us because we're just going to play more aggressive.
European League Championship Series. We are halfway through week 3 here at our studios in Berlin, Germany. As you can see, the place is packed and the fans are absolutely ready to go. And just a moment ago, they were like, please let us in. We want to see all the action, and they are super excited. There are the Giants walking in, definitely in the zone and in the sun a little bit as well, reminding them of their home country that it's getting sunny here in Berlin as well. And there is Fnatic setting up on stage, ready for their first match and looking to remain undefeated with Huni there. Now the coaches Lothar and Daylor talking shop, probably on Espanol, but we don't know for sure. I'm Evie Supporter, and joining me on the analyst desk is Trevor Quickshot Henry.
Thank you very much.
You look great.
Thank you, thank you. I wanted to break out the new jackets. I also want to give some luck to Stress and to Pulse. They're actually over in DreamHack this weekend, casting the Nordic Open, so we'll have to see how well the Nordic teams perform, considering that they casted the Four Nations not too long ago.
Yeah, definitely good luck to those guys over there. Now we're going to dial in on the standings after the action yesterday and see what we've got going on for us today. Of course, still undefeated at the top of the tables are Fnatic and Origin, then Giants and H2K, and Unicorns of Love, Copenhagen Wolf, Elements, Gambit Gaming, Roccat. They all have a win, but there's one team that's still trailing, that's SK Gaming. I would like to start with dialing in on Giants because they're absolutely on a tear, 4-1 now, and it's been going incredibly well for that team.
It really, really has. They've got a 4-game winning streak. They're playing multiple styles. The first couple wins, they had aggressive games. The last 2 wins, they had these poke games. I think what's very important to note, that 4-1 record is going to give them a very nice buffer against the teams below them. So if the other teams start fixing their problems and start becoming more competitive, they've now got a much more difficult route into the playoffs, and Giants have got that air of safety to play with.
Yeah, talking about a difficult route, Gambit, SK Gaming at the bottom of the standings, but Gambit, they did manage to get a win yesterday versus the Copenhagen Wolves. It was slow, it was steady, but they did it.
Yeah, look, it wasn't a pretty win, but it was a win. Forgiven was very outspoken on social media about the matchup. He was even quite strongly worded in his interview, saying that the team is still trying to come together. But for Gambit, what's important to note is they have that win. They played safely, they got an advantage, they closed the game out. They were saying as well that they were just scared to make mistakes, scared to throw that lead away. So we'll see how Gambit can continue to play, and for SK, it's all about scraping the bottom of the barrel now. They have made different mistakes in every game, and they've got to make less mistakes if they want to win.
Yeah, and they're up against Gambit today. We will see in that game, Gambit versus Copenhagen Wolves, we saw a jungle Echo, by the way. We also saw a mid and Froggen. 0-2 so far in Europe. What is your take?
Echo's overpowered.
Yeah.
I think Froggen played very well. He had a great scoreline towards the end of the game. If memory serves, it was 4-4. I'm not as convinced when I think of Airwax in the jungle going full tank with Cinderhulk. What we did see from both players, however, is just how difficult it was for the team to play around that champion. There was so much more setup and timing and communication required that it didn't really work out. I do think Froggen deserves a little bit of extra praise because he had a great laning phase, he had a great performance, and it was against the #1 team in the league at the moment.
Yeah, we'll see in a couple of weeks when the teams have some more practice. Maybe they can pull out some crazy plays on that Echo. Before we move on to the games here on day 2, we do want to dial in on a big play from day 1. Yesterday was Elements versus Fnatic. Elements had a tough game, but at one moment they could sneak that Baron or get that Baron and decided to go bottom lane for a push, but it fell apart there for them.
It really did. And, we keep doing these mic checks on PTL and listening into the comms, and we got a note from the guys on that team saying that, look, the communication in this game was very interesting and very different. So we decided to look at one of these team fights, one of these tower dives after Elements had secured the Baron. Now, Elements were a lot more proactive, a lot more aggressive than we've seen in previous weeks. So we wanted to highlight what the communication was like from this team because we don't really know. It's 4 new players around Froggen. So we're going to pull up a replay in just a moment, and I want you guys to listen to the communication from the players, as well as look at the decision-making, how they're landing their abilities. So let's get that first clip up of Elements tower diving Fnatic.
FLICKR is top. He can still do it. He cannot TP in time.
I'm just gonna
He
be
cannot
ready for my
TP
ulti.
in
Be ready
time.
for ulti.
Yeah. Call it if you see it. You got this, man.
You wanna dive? Just straight up?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, we can.
FLICKR is
I'm
basing down.
against Azir, it's hard.
Let's go. Go fuck it. I'm gonna go here.
Reyna.
Oh my god, I choked so hard.
Huni.
Huni. Yeah.
Yeah, of course, we don't know what their communication is like regularly, but it does feel like there's a lot of pressure there and calls that you might feel a little pressure to do well. And we saw Promiscu the minute after he missed that Bard ultimate, immediately very down on himself as well.
Yeah, very much so. I mean, that was a literal facepalm.
Yeah.
You could also hear a bit of confusion. Should we dive? Must we dive? Tabs is this little hint of like, oh, it's difficult against Azir, and then they still do it anyway. And then they miss some of their key abilities. I think it's very interesting to hear how Elements are talking, Frog in a very loud voice, but not necessarily taking into account the information from the rest of his team.
Yeah, and keeping in our thoughts as well. This was a high coordination comp, but maybe then the communication needs to follow up as well. And we, of course, want to see what it was like on the other side, so we're going to pull up the clip from Fnatic in that same team fight.
We have a ward here too, so if they go up and hit, we can even TP here, no? Or even in the...
I'm gonna TP Fire Flash, then I'm going... When they hit turret,
Yes.
I go TP here.
I think we can fight when they hit tower. We have shields right now.
Go, go.
I go. On me, Fizz.
Vayne.
Hey, Echo and Bard.
Vayne.
Echo. Care.
Look.
Stay together,
We can kill everyone. Nice. Echo is here.
Echo is here. Nice.
They use everything on me.
And I just think it's a very big difference when you hear how calm and collected Fnatic are. You hear the setup. If they go tower, should I TP? Yellow Star, very clear yes. They go tower, then it's all 3 voices, go. And all of a sudden you hear the silence again and they're just picking targets. Now, you could get a little pedantic and say they're picking multiple champions because you heard a couple of different names being thrown around. But that's just me being a little overly critical. Cool, calm, collected. There was no panic. There was no worry, despite fighting a team with Baron buff. So it was a very, very good call. And also, if you contrast that to Spring, when all we heard from Fnatic in Spring was wah, 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 this is a significant improvement.
Yeah, definitely Daylor maybe having something to do with that as well. Well, they are the Spring Split champions after all, Fnatic, and we're going to see if they can keep their cool today. Fnatic is up versus Giants in the first game of the day, where we have Elements versus the Copenhagen Wolves as well. And of course, the Unicorns of Love versus H2K, our game of the week right at the end there. It's going to be an interesting one. UOL really had quite a bad showing yesterday. H2K was pushed, we got to be honest with that, so we'll see how that plays out.
Both of those teams had big question marks from yesterday. However, of course, H2K did get the win, so we'll need to see if that has shaken either of their confidence coming into today's game.
Yeah, we will see. Now, with a lot of high priority picks on the table this week, we want to ask you, who is your must-pick ban champion in the current meta and why? Trevor.
I think it depends a lot in the LCS and the team that you're playing against, but definitely on the patch and in the meta, Ryze is up there, Alistair's up there. I think Gragas definitely has to be a consideration because he's so powerful in the jungle.
What about you if you're playing a game? Who are you banning?
Blitzcrank, because I play AD carry, but no, I'd probably Gragas. I can't stand Gragas. He's so good at all stages of the game, and I hate being knocked around by that barrel.
All right. I'm learning top lane, and Riven, man, no.
Yep.
Be sure to send your responses at LL Esports and include that hashtag LCS, and we're going to check out some of your responses later today. And now we're going to dial in on the match at hand between Fnatic and Giants Gaming. Starting with the lineup for Fnatic, they are lining up on the blue side for this one with Huni, Rainover, Febiven, Reckless, Yellow Star, and Daylor. Now, yesterday, we saw them going back to basics in their game versus Elements. They had the Rek'Sai there, they had the Hecarim there, and just playing it out like they normally would.
Yeah, they really had a lot of comfortable picks, and despite actually giving up a couple of kills to Elements in the early game, and playing quite an interesting composition with the Fizz, the Echo, the Vayne, the Bard. These are champions that are not super common right now. Fnatic did not flinch. They did not give up any ground, and you saw from that clip earlier today how good their communication was and just how good their team fighting is. So very impressive performance from Fnatic, more of what we expected and they're going to have to do again against Giants, who are a very strong team.
Yeah, definitely. I also really like their pick and ban phase. Once again, last time around, they left the Rise up and they had the counter in Cho'Gath. They're confident in the counters they can pick here, leaving the Echo up and going for that as well.
Yeah, very, very clear. So they know the powerful picks on the meta, and it's very smart because they seem to bait their opponents, leave the Rise up, leave the Echo up, and say, right, we dare you to pick it. After the day or the bluff gets called, Fnatic says, well, we've got a counter. Thank you very much. We'll take another victory.
Yeah, absolutely. So the whole team stepping up, but we do want to dial in on Reckless, of course, as he was playing versus his ex-team, and he had one of his best performances yet.
He really did. If you take a look at the stats that he had from that game, 7-1-9, 33% kill share, great GPM. Overall, Reckless had a better showing in his game against his former team than he did on his former team throughout most of the spring split.
All right, well, today Fnatic is up against the Giants, so we're going to look at the other side of Summoner's Rift, the Red Hot Giants Gaming. Whirlip, then Frederick, El Bandido, then Pepinero, Adri, Godfred, and Lothar. They are 4-1, only losing to Origin week 1, day 1, and it almost seems like a footnote now because they have been on a tear since then.
Completely agree. 4 games, pretty convincing. A little slow to close out yesterday, but I'm being nitpicky. The thing that I like about the stat line, you can see 225 assists and a 5 KDA. That's actually the second highest number of assists out of all 10 teams in Europe. What that means is the team is grouping efficiently, they're pushing objectives as a team, and they're getting multiple members involved. It's no longer just the Pepinero carry show.
Yeah, definitely. And one person we've been having our eye on is Adri in the AD carry role. Yesterday again versus Rocket, had a fantastic game, had the most kills on his team, the highest damage dealt, and the highest kill participation versus Rocket over Pepinero, which is not something we see very often.
It really isn't. And it's on a champion that's not super ultra meta right now. Ezreal, he's going blue build. It's something that was popular last year. Adri is becoming a carry that needs to be feared because the team is enabling it as well. Whirlip's doing well, Peppy's doing well, Godfrey, the support that's coming for Summer, every single one of them is carrying their respective weight.
Yeah, it's coming together very well. As you mentioned, the Ezreal there from Adri. Let's actually pull up the team comp that the Giants pulled out versus Rocket yesterday, as said Ezreal. Then we have some very familiar things for them. Whirlip on Jax, Frederick on Evelyn, the Morgana for Godfred, 4th time in a row. Then Varus, a kind of a different spice there for Pepinero in the mid lane. But the question is, if they decide to go with this kind of a poke-heavy, maybe split pushy comp once again versus Fnatic, is that something that can work out?
I don't think it will. I think you've hit the nail on the head. Fnatic are a team that'll be able to play the map very effectively. They should be able to shut down Whirlip's Jax because Fnatic know how to prioritize their resources. Second to that, yes, they have lost to Varus mid. It was Unicorns of Love in Madrid, but they've beat that poke style with Cog more recently. So Fnatic will have some tools in their kit on how to deal with those team comps. Another big question is Godfrey on that Morgana. You said it 4 games in a row, undefeated. Can Godfrey have the same impact on other champions? So those are some big questions for Giants. The first 2 wins they picked up in the split were not on poke-heavy comps. They were a bit more engage-heavy. Diana mid comes to mind. Let's see if they go back to that style against the aggressive Fnatic.
Yeah, a lot of questions, but we'll find some of the answers very soon. The teams are set on stage, and we're going to hand it over to the casters to get into the game. And as we go, we'll get some insight into the new approach Giants are taking to the summer split.
Yo creo que el equipo está, aparte de más fuerte, más motivado que el anterior split, y eso es que a la hora de ir a jugar aquí al stage y eso se nota muchísimo, porque no afrontamos las partidas igual, que es como a ver qué hacen, es más a ver qué hacemos. Creo que los otros equipos se están dando cuenta de que nosotros también podemos mejorar y que viéndoles cómo juegan, qué estilos tienen y eso, pues va siendo cada vez más fácil, ¿sabes? Poder jugar contra ellos y adaptarnos a su juego.
Hello everybody, I'm Devin Pyrotechnics Young, and I'm here with the one and only Mitch Crepo for Spulls as Fnatic and Giants are making their final preparations for picks and bans. Oh, this is going to be a good one. I can already feel it, Crepo.
Yeah, I'm actually really looking forward to this draft phase. I want to see if Fnatic can do what 4 teams in a row so far have not been able to do, and it's just outban, outmaneuver the Giants in this drafting phase. Analyst has touched upon it. Godfred got Morgana 4 times in a row, won 4 games in a row. These binary, not binary, but these repetitions of poke compositions. I feel like Fnatic might actually respect the Kog'Maw, ban it out, leave open the Varus, get rid of the Morgana, and then just play the game out there. And we saw how controlled Fnatic has been so far.
Yeah, we have seen that, and you got to wonder how much of that is the team's evolution as they've grown together after winning the spring split. How much of it is their coach, Daylor? You can tell that there's a presence there in the picks and bans. You see that Jax fanned away. This is something that Whirlip has been able to get his hands on the last couple of games, and now he will not have that option. Rise is the answer back from Giants Gaming.
Yeah, definitely 2 top lane bans here immediately, and that's just what we see usually when it comes to the likes of Huni and Whirlip. Although we did in the past, his Jax was open twice, got 2 victories, and then immediate, as we thought, almost predictable at this point, that Morgana would finally get banned out against Godfred, and we will now see he's had some time to get another champion ready, prepared for the LCS stage. Just wonder which one is it going to be.
I think the Maokai is always a possibility. We'll have to see how the ban phase progresses. Another ban towards Huni. This time it's the Rumble. Fnatic, they've got one left to burn, and
it's
it
going to be the
looks like
Hecarim.
it's Thresh.
Yeah, so third ban from Fnatic is the Thresh here. They probably did their research, said, okay, Godfrey, you're going for your number 2 pick. Seems to be Thresh. Well, we'll put you on number 3. So you definitely go for a comfort champ to a new champion. But I just wonder if Giants are going to end up banning out Hecarim here for the triple threat on Huni. Or have something else in mind.
A lot of teams have tried to do this, but Huni is definitely proven to be a tough customer at the top. The Alistar's banned away, so the supports, they're heavily hit this time. Yellowstar, though, even though his own Morgana was banned, Thresh is banned on his side, Alistar's now banned against him. I think they're not too worried about that. This is a guy with a lot of experience on his side. He definitely has a deep champion pool.
Yeah, it's games like these, you often see a Janna get picked up eventually once the first couple row of supports get, banned out, and then eventually you can lock in a Janna if you need some disengage. However, if you end up playing a Janna in a poke comp, or against a poke comp rather, then you're going to be rather useless because there's not much to disengage from. I wonder if Giants are going to go for the repeat performance here, because they've ran this poke comp 2 times in a row. Almost identical composition. Yes, the Jax is out right now, and Morgana is out as well, but are they just going to find similar champions and still put Pepinero on a poke champion? And then is Fnatic ready for it?
We'll have to see. I mean, that's the thing, because Giants, while they've been playing very well, they have been looking a little bit, I would say, similar styles all through the games. And look at this, Fnatic, the timer ticks down. They're going to go ahead and lock in the Echo as it was left open. Now that is interesting.
Now we saw Febiven adapt to Froggen's play yesterday when he came to that matchup, and he just learned how to deal with the Echo. Probably has played it plenty in solo queue as well, and just showed how strong a champion can be. We might see the Diana return here from Pepineri though to match that mage battle on each other, dive in, aggressive kill combo come out.
Quick shot will definitely be happy. Talking about that one in the pre-game there. Giants Gaming have a little bit more time to find out what they want to lock in. Not a whole lot is revealed by locking in Echo right away, but I am a little bit surprised. They didn't seem too keen on playing it or trying to pick it out yesterday, but of course Giants did target Huni specifically, and a lot of other stuff is left open. Maybe they just think that overall it's a very strong pick if left available.
When it comes to supports, there's not that many left that are considered very meta right now. Definitely tier 1, I would rate Alistar and Morgana, and then Thresh up there as well. So you have to resort to a little bit of lower tier. Nautilus, it's good to an extent to get it early, because then you don't give the enemy Nautilus Kalista as well, when we know Reckless has played Kalista yesterday, and if he continues the trend of picking those 2 champions in a row every time, he might be looking for Kalista again, and then at least you have targeted CC from Giant side, and they don't give away too much. Nautilus is a support pick that works in a lot of things. Gragas is a top tier jungler right now. Reignover can still go for his Rek'Sai, and yeah, usually we shouldn't pay attention to hovers, but the must
that's an homage right now.
An homage to the king.
Won't go any further in case you haven't watched anything earlier today. But yeah, for Giants Gaming, the Nautilus pick I think makes a lot of sense, as well as the Gragas top tier jungler. So Fnatic, they still have a lot available to them outside of the support and top lane. What do they go for though as the timer ticks down?
Very slow draft from both teams, and not too much information revealed on the first 2 picks. So they're just taking some staple tier 1 picks in both roles. Echo's taken out here, which is, we don't know yet if he's a tier 1 mid laner, but so far he has looked strong, and then the Gragas on the other side. But I just want to see how Fnatic rounds this out, because Daylor has shown the entirety of Spring Split and now at the start of Summer too that he's just a fantastic coach when it comes to drafting. Xavier LeBlanc picked up. Again, fits in many things. However, this means that LeBlanc's likely to go mid, which then poses the question, where is Echo going?
Well, we've already seen him in the jungle once, and people have talked about how he's possibly a top laner. We'll see if that's something Huni's practice he wants to do, but there's still some time on the clock.
This has Huni written all over it though. This high mobility type of champion where you can become unpredictable in what you do, zone control, moving around the map, adding a teleport to that. He can teleport, get somebody dead in 3 seconds, and then ulti back to his lane.
And then he can just travel back 4 seconds so no one even knows. Or rather, before he even misses any farm.
Yeah, exactly.
That's perfect.
Go back to his lane with the ultimate.
Well, I'm really looking forward to that. I hope that actually ends up being what it is. So, with the way it's locked in right now, Giants have got ahead and gone Lulu and Lucian. So, Audrey opts not to go for the Ezreal in this case. Obviously, it's a little bit different of a comp already. And Fnatic have 2 more, their final pickups. I want to see what they round this comp out with.
So, this is the Lulu mid, which is what people usually pick into a LeBlanc to neutralize the laning phase. When she dashes in as well, you can pop the ulti, you can hex her, you can somewhat deal with the LeBlanc if you ulti yourself while she distortions forward, you knock her up and you cancel the damage she does on you. If you hex her, then eventually, you know, you can target her down in fights and prevent her from jumping back.
But how does this affect Giants' overall damage output? Lulu is not necessarily that bully she used to be.
Yeah, early in the mid game, Lulu rise up on her base damages, but as the game progresses, very often you'll see Lulu use her shield for herself, so that takes away one of the damage instances, and Pepinero, we'll get to that later. Pepinero has been the main carry for Giants, but recently we've seen this resurgence of Whirlup doing more damage, of Audrey carrying harder, and it seems that Giants seems to be okay with not putting Peppy in the main carry role here and relying on the top laner and the AD carry to do more of the damage and bring more utility in that mid lane.
And that's the way it's trended the last few games for Giants. Audrey has output more damage than Pepinero, and it sees a shift, an evolution of this Giant squad. They'll certainly need it against Fnatic now, who rounded out their comp. Rainover's gone to a comfortable choice in the Rek'Sai, and Yellowstar picks up an old favorite that we've seen bounce back and forth is Leona.
Yeah, they add 2 tanks to the mix, Rek'Sai in the front line, and then some targeted lockdown from Leona that they can use to get these targets down on the Giants lineup. However, any targets that's going to be heavily focused will obviously receive that Lulu ulti, that Lulu shield, and some peel from both Nautilus and Gragas, so it won't be that easy to burst. But I just love Sivir as a champion, and I think a team like Fnatic, they're one of the teams in the European LCS, alongside with maybe Origin, that can get the most out of that champion. She's a utility-based AD carry. You just get her through the laning phase, and then you group for objectives, and you use that mobility to your advantage. Together with Rainover on Rek'Sai as well, he can then go in deep into the fight and knock people up, and it's a good synergy here. And I just want to watch what Febiven does as well. Is he going to go for the carries? Is he going to, you know, try and just CC down the front line? What is Fnatic's approach going to be against his quite tanky, almost low damage lineup from Giants Gaming?
Yeah, and that, speaking of tanks, but also some early bruiser reaction, I want to take you up top a little bit as the timer ticks down here to postulate a little bit on this Echo and Renekton matchup. Renekton is one of those champions that Whirlup tried to use a little bit more when he was trying to find his post-Jax identity in the spring. What do you make of that matchup?
Well, now Renekton is always good at dueling in melee range, so Echo is very nimble, very swift, wants to dash around, stun somebody, but if he actually goes in and tries to connect some blows on Renekton, then he can use his W, you know, stun down Echo. If Echo tries to run away with that movement speed that he gets from Z-Drive Resonance, then at least you have Slice and Dice to follow Echo in that sense. However, Renekton is very slow, scales very slowly into the mid to late game. I mean, just he falls off at one point.
There's something interesting going on this game. We thought that was going to be a for sure swap, but we've got ourselves...
We've missed something here, Pyra.
A Lucian for Pepinero. Maybe we called it a little too early. Well, that might affect some votes right now. Speaking of which, FNC win, GIA win. You guys know the hashtags, but we are already on the Rift for the start of day 2 of week 3.
I knew the Spanish loved their sangria, but they like themselves some cheese as well. We see Audrey here with the Lulu. Is he going to end up mid or bot? Because I said Pepinero is not going to be the carry, right? Because they want utility and they want the utility from the Lulu, but they might just say Pepinero says, okay, I'm out of mid lane champions. I will do the job in the AD carry role and send Audrey mid on Lulu.
That's already looking to be a different game as we start things off the board. Line of scrimmage, but a few players are not in their normal positions.
Now it does seem that this Lulu will be played mid lane. It's running the offensive ignite as well. Audrey definitely wants to put some pressure on that lane, and then Pepinero has the heal.
30 seconds.
Likely that he'll actually be the AD carry then.
Yeah.
This is interesting. I like it.
Yeah, it's a bold move there. Let's see how it works out. All right, as Huni is going to go ahead and find a Whirlup to start things off. Throws out his Time Winder. Everyone's loving him, but can he get out of this situation? Whirlup is slicing and dicing. Frederick's coming up. Time Winder slows Whirlup for a second, but Huni might be in some trouble here. He's going to have to get back to tower and base.
Yeah, a little bit of action in the early game, but overall, nobody goes down. Even start. No lane swap either. Now, the Sivir-Leona matchup is actually pretty tricky. I feel it into the likes of Nautilus Lucian. I feel they should definitely have the edge here in that matchup, but Fnatic opts to still give Huni the 1v1 against Whirlup. No swap coming out. Let's see.
We've got our normal start.
See how they do these golems? You want to watch?
That is always the important thing.
Whatever on the Leona lane, it doesn't.
I wonder how different Pepinero is going to perform in this AD carry role. He's of course going with Gromp Roof with Godfrey.
Now on a lane where you have very little AoE and only a reset from the Leona on the auto attack, it is okay to take down that small golem first and stay a little more healthy. Because you're very likely to get pushed in by Nautilus and Lucian, because even though Sivir has great wave clear and push, level 1 with that bouncing blades right there, Nautilus's E, Riptide is on like a 5.5 second cooldown base, or 6 seconds, something like that, and it just clears wave way quicker than Leona can do. All she has for wave clear is 2 relic stacks, and that's not enough, so we'll see that wave very likely push towards Fnatic.
Very likely indeed. So, things have gotten off to a nice and easy start. I'm interested to see where the two junglers go. Rainover can definitely put a lot of pressure on early games, so can Frederick. Let's see how they utilize it though.
Pepinero showing some hesitance here. Maybe not used to laning, but I feel like they could have definitely forced the push there. They might feel safer on the sanctity of their own tower though, but this opens up Yellowstar to get a bit of a deep ward and find out where Frederick started, and possibly find Frederick. This gives Rainover some more information, and Rainover always works well with information. He's such a smart jungler. Always knows where to be, whether to shadow his lanes, basically wait in the wings for the counter gank, or go aggressive and get that gank. And I don't like the Fnatic gets to push this bot lane in, because that's exactly what Sivir wants to do. Yes, you remove the offensive potential from Leona, because obviously she can't dive in under tower, but she masks her weakness, which is that she's a melee support with very binary all-in engage. But here, Werlib.
Yeah, speaking of all-in, Werlib's going to go get the jump off on Huni so far. Big Croc is trading quite well. He's got to be careful though. Timewinder came out of flying, and Huni's able to push him back. But yeah, back to your point about Rainover, as he's starting to come up here, Werlib could be in some trouble. He does always seem to know where to be, the right place at the right time. Sends the Prey Seeker. Werlib looks to try and pick a kill. A flash for flash. Werlib is going to go for a dash, and Rainover still behind him. Huni smacks the Croc with the bat. And
good
first blood.
Flash by Huni, getting out alive here. He received Frederick posturing for the return gank, but Febim's not going to fall for it. And Renekton is such an early game top laner. He needs to start that snowball to get fed and actually keep the edge damage-wise over Huni. This kill is big. Probably the biggest kill you could have in the game right now. In any lane, if you could have one matchup, get one kill ahead, I definitely think Huni is the one you want to get ahead, because he was getting zoned in CS. He was getting pressured. He baited the Crocodile.
Now he's got himself a nice new pair of Croc skin boots. Frederick goes for a bit of a Krug steal, gets out of it, but Yellowstar was able to spot him on the retreat, so they know exactly where that fat man is. Reckless and Pepinero duking it out to the bottom farm-wise.
Yeah, Fnatic on the top of the game. We see double pings come out, so Godfred spotted. Obviously, Frederick was spotted, but they're communicating it yet again, and we saw in the feature earlier, Fnatic communication seems to be on point. They seem to be in sync, playing this game very well. It's very rare that you see a Fnatic member get caught with their pants down, get caught in an awkward gank that they could have expected, and they're very calculated in their approach. And Giants, so far they seemed like they were as well, to an extent, but a slightly sloppier version, and they paid the price. But even now, Werlib is still ahead in CS in that matchup, so it just shows how valuable that gank was.
Yeah, and he's still pushing Huni in. You have to wonder if Rainover just doesn't decide to spend a majority of his time up in this top side. You can see him moving for it right now.
Now, he's afraid of the counter gank by Gragas, because obviously, if you have a winning matchup 1v1, you're going to lose a 2v2. But as we said earlier, that little deep ward from Yellowstar revealed where the jungler was, told Rainover, hey, you're safe to gank top.
Speaking of junglers.
Now he finds Frederick yet again.
He was coming around the side, but this could be a powder keg.
He has Huni in the backline. Huni's the one that's going to be moving first right now. So you see, this Fnatic is always ready to help each other. Always that buddy system.
The communication is just there. They're always able to make it happen. Now Frederick, he's going to be jumping, or rather moving away up towards the top side. Rainover did spot him out, but everyone knows what's happening right now on the Fnatic side.
Yeah, this is Rainover just shadowing. Very telegraphed dredge on here by Godfred. So not much will come out of that, but this is Huni shadowing the top lane. He's not going in for another gank, because if he gets counter ganked, he will die. Just wants to find Gragas.
Uh-oh, Rainover comes in trouble with the flash. Frederick will be able to solo down the Rex side.
A little overzealous there. Imagine he started to go. Good move by Frederick. Good read to punish Rainover, because if you want to get to Huni, you probably want to take out Rainover first, then get Huni down, because he will always be waiting in the wings. Robe still has a bit of a lead here.
Yep, he is going to throw down his W. Werlib couldn't really get out in time. The parallel convergence made sure of that. Frederick now turns his attention towards the middle. Febivin
low on mana.
Be in some trouble, baited by the low health Audrey, but he's got the spot on. In comes the belly slam. Febivin, can he get away? He's got his dash, and he will start his back, but unfortunately his passive spot before that happens. He's safe though.
And Febivin holding that gap close to the latest moment. He wanted Audrey to flash in and then maybe make a cheeky play with flashing forward himself, igniting Audrey, getting a kill, getting out that way. He could have dashed out earlier, so he was definitely setting up a bait. He knew Gragas didn't have enough damage to take him down on alone, And he had the flash ready to dodge any of Audrey's damage right there.
Yellowstar coming up for signature roam right now. Just kind of stopping the back.
Yeah, and this is, well, it may look like not much. It delays the back timers by 2 people, by at least a full back channel, which is around 8 seconds. Again, more tempo for Fnatic. They can make the next move first now and just keep that tempo rolling.
Yeah, grabs those little tiny edges that Fnatic thrives on. They turn them into big things. This is a team that will make you make mistakes, and they will punish you for them.
Yeah, and how is Pepinero going to do in the AD carry role? He formerly was a bit of an AD carry himself, but is he going to have that same impact in the game? Obviously, AD carry role is vastly different to mid laners, vastly different to the mid laners that Pepinero has played. Yes, maybe he played a Varus once, but he serves a different role in the fights, right? His initial poke to set up these fights is vastly different compared to being the main damage dealer in these fights, dashing forward, having to deal with these tanks. Poke and clutch fighting, very different.
He's going to phase dive in. Whirlib is going to jump on in. Gets himself stunned up for just a second, baited right into it. Huni is starting to fire back on all cylinders.
Yeah, Huni wants to go for these short trades and get that shield up, do some damage in Whirlip, and then get out, whether it's by using parallel convergence to stun, or using a phase dive component to dash out. We see Fnatic in the wings here.
Frederick is waiting. Whirlib is going to turn on his ultimate. Huni has to be careful. He might have gotten baited himself, and he's going to time wind back. Chrono Breaker as Frederick now finds a Rainover. The damage comes through. And it's a jungler on jungler, but Rainover comes up with a kill.
Yeah, Whirlip with the classic move. Hey, it looks like I don't know this matchup. Going in too deep, almost obviously so. Huni reads it perfectly. He stays back, calls in the support from Rainover, doesn't want to go too aggressive, and once he gets that support from his jungler, that's when he turns on the damage. And that was a lot of damage.
Yeah, it was. That's what a warrior enchantment will do for you this time of the game. So, with all that said and done, take stock of where we are in this game. Only 9 minutes on the board. Fnatic have made some clever moves. Giants have gotten at least 1 solo kill, courtesy of Frederick finding Rainover. Everything else has been a little bit more quiet. Got to be careful there. Yellowstar backing away from Pepinero and Godfred.
Now this lane completely switches gears once Leona and Sivir hit level 6, because then you don't need to use the Zenith Blade to be your gap closer. You can literally just pop on the hunt, close into the Lucian, force his dash, then follow and trail him with your Zenith Blade, lock him down immediately, and get the all-in potential. The reason Leona struggles into his lane because the root, the CC from Nautilus initially is too big, punishes Leona too much if she goes in, and then she loses those trades because the all-in will not be enough to pop Lucian. But once you hit level 6, you have so much mobility, you have an extra crowd control component rather, and you can really punish the Lucian.
And remember, they focused 2 out of the 3 bans this game on Godfred. They're really banking on the fact that he won't be nearly as comfortable on this Nautilus pickup. As you mentioned, a lot of his moves, they've not been particularly bad. They've just been very telegraphed. They've been very obvious. You can tell that the finesse level just isn't there the same way his Morgana has been.
I mean, he relied just on providing a lot of utility and just throwing out his binding. If it sticks, yeah, we can go in. If it doesn't, you don't get punished for it. Black Shield is always useful. Nautilus is to an extent a more complex champion. But the bot lane is not where this game is made or broken rather. You wanna look at the top lane, you wanna look at Huni, you wanna see what Febiven can do here. Is he gonna roam? Saw some damage on Frederick.
Well, we're about to see Huni.
Here's Huni.
Roam, Frederick. There's a phase dive dashing in. The barrel comes out, but Audrey is in some trouble.
Solar
Throw
flare.
down the solar flare, and Rainover will gobble up another.
And this is a signature Fnatic move. At one point in the game, they will call all their members to the mid lane. Huni flanks from the top side. Yellowstar comes in from the bot side. Now Huni teleports back to top because his job is done. Dragon secured, and Fnatic does this a lot, especially against weaker mid laners. These utility mid laners that have to stay at bay, and they won't die 1v1 because it's more of a poke matchup. But once more people enter the fray, then they drop dead. And good move by Fnatic, and Giants was too late to react.
Giants were too late to react indeed. So, Fnatic advantage to them. They've got themselves 2,000 gold ahead. They've got a dragon to boot. And they are making all the moves on the map. Giants will have to find a way to react. And, you know, in many ways, this game is the real test for them. You know, yes, they lost to Origin. They played a lot of other teams much more lower on the totem pole. But if they can make a dent in Fnatic, as unlikely as it seems, this tells everyone in the LCS, we're a team you have to be afraid of.
Yeah, Huni going in on World yet again, gets a bit of a counter trade, backs off. But I don't even think this is as much of a test for Giants as it is like a challenge. Everybody expects Fnatic to win here, just in the fashion in which they do so, it will be the question right here. And as you say, can Giants make it then? Where are they? Are they a middle of the pack team that played a little, you know, got a little lucky, had a little more wins than expected? Or are they that solid top 5 contender right now? Maybe top 4 contender like they're right now? Only time will tell. But they have faced Origin already, they have faced Fnatic now. So the next few matches will be important for Giant too.
Still can't 100-0. The power of that Lulu. Audrey is rocking right now. Meanwhile, up in the top, Huni, he could be in some trouble. The barrel will knock him back, and he's going to jump back in. Whirlip still tanking the line as Frederick forced to flash away. Huni diving and dashing in again. Frederick just won't go down. And battered and bruised. Everyone will back away except Audrey. Rainover intercepts him, knocks him up, and there's a wild growth forced out. Challenging Smite is down. Prey Seekers are flying. Audrey.
There's Febiven.
Trying to stay alive. Has the slow, has the polymorph. Febiven picks off Frederick, and with no one to help him out, Audrey's gonna fall as well. Fnatic on the tower up top.
And none of the Fnatic members die here, and in reaction here, Yellowstar going for the stun.
Yes, he is. Reckless, he could be in some trouble on the Hunter's pot, but he's burning away, and that is Pepinero throwing down his ultimate to try and stay alive. Godfred runs right into the stun, but there it is, the piercing light to take down Reckless.
And that's the problem when you're peeling for your AD carry against the Lucian. You tend to line up, you give your AD carry, you know, in line of fire for the Lucian to use piercing light, and you extend that projectile, and then you basically kill your AD carry. Not much to do there. Fnatic went a little eager, didn't get the stun off. Nero.
Yep. Pepe's able to get out of dodge. Oh, Yellowstar's around the side, but he's a little bit too low to try and do something. And he just able to take a parting shot. Now, in this matchup, I want to go back to how they didn't swap around, because I almost wonder if this is something a little bit more personal for Pepe. In a little Esports interview, he said that, hey, Reckless, this is the guy who's my rival. So maybe he just wanted to play against him this time.
Yeah, maybe he did, but I don't think it's... I won't necessarily call it a bad move. I think it's good for Giants that they had the even matchup here, because Whirlip had to get ahead of Huni. Might get ahead of Huni here.
Yep, Huni is...
out of mana.
Got some backup, but yes, he can't really do too much. Reckless is there, though, however, with the Boomerang Blade. Huni does have auto attacks just enough for a parallel convergence, but Whirlip is able to walk out of it.
Yeah, Fabian lurking in the wings, though, spotted by the ward.
Really trying to make the aggro plays here. Pepinero discovers Febiven. Frederick misses the big barrel. Yellowstar gets the jump on him after, and Febiven's just fine. There goes the solar flare. Frederick, he's going down. Febiven comes up. The kill number 2 for him.
Yeah, what Frederick tried to do there was predict the distortion from Febiven and knock him back immediately, but he threw his barrel too early. Simple as that. Give a mistake out of him, and Fnatic is now 3,000 gold ahead at the 15-minute mark. That's a major lead right now.
It's a very major lead.
So they extended by another tower.
They get that one down. 1 tower to 0, 1 dragon to 0. Take away a blue buff. Nom nom nom. We take everything away from you. That is the Fnatic style. So, dragon coming up in 2 minutes. They're getting ready to secure some vision around there. And Giants don't seem to have an answer.
The Giants seem a little stuck. They put their main carry player, Pepinero, on the AD carry position into a matchup where it's very hard to carry from. You need to get really fed to continuously kill a Sivir, because she always has the option to play safe. We saw that Huni goes in for a teleport here. Might opt to go back in time. Finds Godfred.
They find Godfred. They throw the chains on. Febiven's there to help him out. That's a big Nautilus with a wild growth from Audrey, but they still might take him down. Looking to dive that tower, and Yellowstar gets the kill credit. Rainover flashes in, knocks up. Audrey parallel convergence is down on him. No, it doesn't connect, but it doesn't matter. Rainover still gets the kill as Audrey answers on Febiven.
Fnatic almost just toying with their food right here. Reckless going in for yet another kill, and Rainover, he always knows when he can dive. Huni,
a little too deep.
He needs to go back 30 seconds in time to escape that one, but Fnatic a little audacious, a little overzealous, one could almost argue, but they're not afraid to take these risks right now to snowball that game, because they know they have that nice little buffer of 4,000 gold, and it's definitely a comfortable position to be in. But yeah, we saw on the bot lane, to go back on that point I was making, as Pepinero dashes in here. The only kill he really got was a punish on a bit of a misplay, all-in engage from Reckless and Yellowstar's side, so it's hard for him to carry in this lane if Sivir plays safe. It's incredibly hard to punish a Sivir lane, so when you pick Sivir as one team, you tell your teammates, hey, it's up to my carries to farm, but also you tell the enemy team, hey, even if you gank me, I will still bring utility, so the action shies away from the bot lane, and if you have your main carry player for Giants stuck in that bot lane, unable to snowball, unable to carry, it's proving difficult. They put all their eggs in the Crocodile Whirlip basket, but good read by Rainover. Following up on that ward in the early game, they spotted Frederick. Rainover reacted by going top, got that first kill in those very first rough few levels in the Echo Renekton matchup.
Yes, indeed he did. So, Fnatic in prime position to once again take over the Dragon Pit. It's not yet 18 minutes on the clock. Frederick zoned away by Reignover. And by the way, Reignover has just had a hell of a game already. 5-1 and 2 to start this off. He's been pretty much all over the map where he needs to be. Rek'Sai, that's not as difficult as some other champions, but he's made very good use of it. You can tell that this is why this is such a comfortable pick for him.
Yeah, out of all jungle champions that Reignover plays, I just like seeing him the most on his Rek'Sai because he's such a high tempo jungler. He always has something in mind. He's always thinking 2 steps ahead. He's not just aimlessly wandering around the map, always with a purpose. Febiven going in though.
Yep, and so is Huni. He'll phase dive for a kill. Why not?
Pop, Peppy, narrow, and he goes down again. Or for the first time here, rather. And yeah, not looking good for Giants here. Tower on bot lane fell. Tower middle falls now. They lost their AD carry. Or their mid laner. You guys can choose what to call him. They have a scaling, or a slow scaling Crocodile in the top lane that got put behind. They have a bit of a tanky jungler, utility mid laner, and a tank support. So no damage come out of Giants. And Febiven, he wants more.
And he does. The barrel is still not going to hit. It was just outside of the range. And in comes Huni as well. Timewinder in full combo. Huni. Oh man, that's just...
Yeah, Frederick is misjudging the weight on his barrels. One too short, one too far. Maybe the next one he hit right on the money, but...
Oh, they need it soon.
They need it soon. Well, they needed about 5 minutes ago.
They are running out of time against this Echo, against this Rek'Sai as well. And Fnatic are doing just so phenomenally well across the map. But for Giants, what do they need to do to slow this pace?
I mean, they need to stop the bleeding somehow, but they're bleeding a lot. Because if you look right now, it's 7,000, 6,000 gold ahead for Fnatic. You remember 3 minutes ago I was talking, or 4 minutes ago I was talking how it was a 3,000 gold lead. Fnatic's expanding their gold lead rapidly.
Yeah, they are continuing to extend this lead over and over and over again. And this is one of those things Fnatic is so good at. We've seen the likes of Origin do the same thing. And these are why these teams have yet to lose a game. It looks the way things are going. Fnatic are eyeballing that 6-0 start here.
Yeah, we're very well on our way to get a 6-0, 6-0 match of the week next week of Origin Fnatic. But let's not get too ahead of ourselves. We're still in this game. Giants, they want to find an opening. But look at the vision, and this is what Fnatic does when they get ahead in that mid game. Systematically moving up those lines of vision. We see wards at the Wolves. We see wards usually around the Wraiths to control. Those are the things you want to control. If you're out of objectives, but you don't quite yet want to push tier 2 towers, you steal away the possibility of the enemy smiting his own Wolves. So you rob him of a potential to get free vision. Then you smite away the Raptors too, and you deny them the possibility to clear the wards in your jungle. Then you take their buffs.
You don't give them anything in return. There is still a ward Giants have. A couple of them scattered near and far around the map, but there's not a whole lot that Fnatic are really giving away here as they continue to shove Giants further in on the map.
Yeah, and they can wait, you know, they have the luxury of time on their side because they have the better late game right now. Eventually they start upgrading these trinkets and sweep out all those wards that Giants managed to sneak in.
And even if they, you know, give up that time advantage, they can always rewind 4 seconds and try it over again.
Exactly, they can. And Huni, let's take a look. If you're looking to play top lane Echo, guys, for whatever reason,
this might be the way to do it.
And you want to follow in the footsteps of the mighty Huni, you want a lot of CDR. A lot of utility comes out of Echo, dashes around nimbly and swiftly. You want those CDR boots, you want that Morellonomicon, then you want a Sheen. But remember, you're very squishy. I don't think he has that much HP just yet. I'm just going to check on my own screen here. Around 1600, 1.6k. That can get bursted. So that's how you want to deal with an Echo, by the way. You want to pop him when he gets overzealous, stun lock him, and prevent him from ulting out.
And this
but
is
it's
exactly
a dangerous
what
game.
Giants have failed to do. They've not been able to control Huni. They tried to shut him down a little bit early. You saw a lot of attempts by Frederick to make moves up to the top, but Reignover was a little bit too quick there. And as speaking of quick, he goes ahead and takes away a Krug as well. I mean,
yeah, it's all these small advantages that just end up building up for Fnatic. They steal away a Krug here, they steal away a Raptor here, they smite the Wolves so they get some extra vision, kill some wards. And Giants, they're trying to get back to the game here, but Huni's going in on Peppy.
Yes, he is. Timewinder's out. Peppy's trying to kite away. Huni.
Oh, he wants to bait Peppy.
There's a teleport though.
He wants to bait and jump back to his clone here.
Not with Warlib there anymore, but yeah. That was the idea. They did burn the teleport, however, so they will have the timing advantage. When the Dragon's coming up, it's a minute and a half away. Not get that reduced cooldown thanks to teleporting on a ward instead of his tower. Still a nice move, and it didn't burn Fnatic at all. They've literally given up almost nothing here, but Huni's got to be careful, got to dash away from Whirlib under this tower. And now Reignover has found Godfred, flash away from the solar flare. In comes the barrel to try and zone him out, but Febiven has caught Godfred again, who's getting set up by the chains mid-dredge. In comes Febiven, trying to pick him up, but the wild growth is on. Turret gets answered in the bottom by the big croc. That's about all Whirlib can do right now, and Huni is out.
Yeah, Fnatic aggressively defending that vision here. Febiven flashes over to wall just to land more abilities on Godfred. They want to chunk out everybody, get those pink wards up, and then bait the Baron. Giants, they will have to face check if they want vision on the Baron.
And they're going to check right into it. They turn their attention to Pepinero and fire him down immediately. Frederick is the next target. He's going to pop, and Audrey forced to flash away. Febiven's not done yet, though. Glitter lands to slow him down. Will he be able to stay alive? For now, the answer is yes, but they're going in again. In comes Huni, and he is just going to burst him down. Godfred taken out by Huni.
You see the determination of Fnatic, zero hesitation as well. They blow offensive flashes to get control of the jungle of Giants, immediately move into a bait position. Huni goes back in!
He's going again! Huni, rampage kill. Has he gone too deep? Will he rewind in time fast enough, or will he even need to? Throws at the Time Winder. Whirlib is just set to chase him all day as Febiven has closed the net. He's gonna get him bursted down, and now Whirlib, the hunter becomes the hunted. Throw on the big croc. Huni thinks about going back in. But that's all it is.
Fnatic is consistently 2 steps ahead of Giants, but also have the opportunity to go 1 step back in time, and it's proving very hard for Giants to deal with this. Let's watch this again. Parallel conversions, dash in, but immediate to focus on Pepinero. He goes down. Frederick, and now you have to run. Run away from a Sivir is incredibly hard. Audrey flashes over, and I mean, it speaks for itself right here. Fnatic are toying with their prey. They could have turned back and went for the Baron rush, but Huni... Yeah, we say how Fnatic's always on the same page, how they always know what to do as a team.
That proved
They did, but then Huni, well...
Until the very end.
Huni wanted more blood. He didn't like that Baron, but Fnatic managed to secure that anyways. 3-man, so spending their resources out efficiently.
Yes, indeed. So, with all that said and done, yes, Baron was taken after the fact. Big fight in favor of Fnatic. Extend the gold lead even farther. It's over 10,000 now, Crepo. It's only 24.5 minutes in. Fnatic's average game time has actually been quite long this split so far. We've seen no games really go under 36 minutes. They're 12 under that now, and they're already getting close to knocking on inhibitor turrets. Dragon now goes down. Huni, though, he might be in some trouble. Parallel convergence. There's the solar flare. That combo is so fantastic. Chrono Breaker. Reckless will pick off Whirlib, and now Godfred running for his life as the rest of Fnatic look to converge on him.
You think you're catching Huni, but actually he's just luring you in, popping that parallel convergence, waiting for you to walk in. Then he stuns you, then Yellowstar follows up. And as you said, the gold lead is now even bigger, 12,000 gold. Roughly ahead of here, 13,000 gold almost for Fnatic. And while the gold tells a story, also to look at the kills. 17 to 4. Fnatic's getting a lot while not giving much away. Also 3 dragons to none. They're completely controlling this game. I don't quite remember the last time Giants actually made a move that crossed the river. They've been stuck on their side of the pitch for pretty much the entire game now. Fnatic slowly choking the life out of them, you know, stealing away that tiny objectives, you know, a wolf here, a Krug there, a raptor here, get all the vision. Then they use the darkness to their advantage to bait the Baron. And Giants, they're always stuck between 2 very bad choices. One that's completely bad, and one that's, you know, slightly less bad, but...
Either way it's bad.
Yeah, either way it's bad. So Fnatic forces them into, you know, just forced errors. And
yeah, they're starting to shove them in. You know, you said it was a slow choke, but at this point, I feel like this game is very accelerated as Fnatic, 26 minutes on the clock, have this near insurmountable lead and just shoving Giants further and further back. Soon they're going to fall off the ledge. Fnatic nearing inhibitor number 2. They've still got wave control up top. Giants just can't fight this, and now Fnatic are interested in diving. Febiven's gonna the inhibitor and all of that. Now he's jumping forward. That's Huni, who jumps himself back. Reignover, however, is tanking tower shots, and he's gotta be careful. Huni looks to jump in, throws down the convergence, chasing everyone back to Fountain. That's 2 inhibitors now for Fnatic. They can back and shop at their leisure.
Yeah, they take down the inhib. They try for a couple of kills. Giants proving a little bit too tanky here. Huni, he could back even earlier. He's just... I feel like Huni's balancing on the edge of those fights almost on purpose to push his limit, to see how far he can go.
This isn't even his final form, Crepo.
May very well not.
Oh, Febiven, whoa, Pepinero, gotta be careful. Oh, really was excited for this this switch around between Peppy and Audrey this game, but they've really not gotten much of a chance to showcase it. This Fnatic team has just beat them down time and time again.
I think it can be an alright strategy to catch people off guard, but Fnatic is probably one of the worst teams to do it against. Huni found his toughest opponent on the Rift rather.
Red buff. Red Bramble back.
Red Bramble back. But yeah, Fnatic is a team that adapts very well, so if you're gonna cheese any team, or well, you know, not cheese, but throw off any team, throw them a curveball. And Fnatic is probably one of the worst teams to do that again. In addition to that, Reckless is a very adept AD carry when it comes to playing passive, when it comes to playing safe. You put him on a champion like Sivir, where his job is to play safe and provide utility for the team, then it's obviously going to be very hard for Pepinero to find an opening there. In addition to that, Godfred was probably stuck on his number 3 choice support, number 4, if you count in Alistar too, that they were forced to ban.
Yeah,
it just doesn't all add up very well.
Yeah, and if you're going to try to throw somebody off too, Fnatic is a team that they have dealt with this over the spring split with Unicorns of Love, who were one of their hardest opponents during the regular season, and then of course in the finals when they were able to beat them in that epic 5-game series in Madrid. You can't really surprise this team. There's just too much experience there, which is kind of interesting considering a lot of them were rookies last split. And now it looks like we're in the end game right here. Crepo Audrey just gets evaporated. Pepinero now looking to fall next. They jump all over, and now the Nexus turrets are falling. Giants can barely sit at Fountain safely, and this game is all gonna be over. 28.5 minutes on the clock. It is Fnatic's fastest win this split, and they will take down Giants Gaming.
Yet another convincing win for Fnatic.
It's even more convincing.
Repeat scenario. The way Reckless talked about his match against Elements as well, he said, I don't really care about who it is, it's just another game to play, another win to take. And they do it, seeming so a bit casual. But yes, no shame for Giants. Coming into the season, a lot of people, including myself, expected Giants to rank at the bottom of the split, of the tables rather.
And they've far surpassed that.
10th place perhaps, but we've seen a resurgence in Giants, and obviously you're gonna hit a couple roadblocks along the way. Obviously have a new support. Just couldn't really open up this game, but very few teams will be able to open up Fnatic, if any at all, and we'll see that next week when they face Origin. But for now, fantastic game. And again, I feel Huni and Reignover stole the show in this match. Febiman did his job, he went even and eventually started roaming and picking up kills, but Reignover's early game is just fantastic.
Yeah, and I wanna also give some credit to Yellowstar for stacking up with Huni. The parallel convergence solar flare combos were really incredible. Like they knew exactly where to place them. They knew that they could use one as an insurance policy against the other. Recognizing the timing, that is something that Fnatic does very well.
Yeah, they did combo their CC well, but I feel at that point the game was already in its final fold.
It's true.
And it just opened up with Huni, and that was a crucial matchup to watch here. Yes, we saw Echo do well. Yes, we saw Huni toy around with his opponent, but it could have gone differently. He faced this early damage threat rather in Whirlip, and he could have gotten the worst end of the shorter end of the stick here, but he had Reignover in support. So teams will have to be careful to just blindly pick Echo top lane, because it can get shut down with an early gank. Almost feel as if Frederick should have started at the bot side of the map, cleared his way to the top, and just shadow Whirlip and allow him, you know, to reign dominance over Huni in that matchup, because that was definitely the crucial player in this game. Huni, and then to an extent Febivan. You don't have to be around a bot lane on your second camp, because Sivir's utility AD carry.
Yeah, utility, and provided quite a lot of it. They did exactly what they needed to do. Fnatic executed a well-laid plan. Now for more to break down that game, we're going to send it over to the analyst desk with a standing by for a look into Fnatic's win.
Thank you so much, guys. Well, before this, we were asking ourselves the question, what is Giants going to do? Are they going to go poke comp? Are they going to go team fight comp? They always go team comp, obviously. But no, they put Pepinero in ADC. Quite interesting, in a recent interview with LOL Esports, which is the Ask the Pros segment, he was actually asked, Pepinero, who do you think is your biggest rival in the EU LCS? And he said, well, I think it is Reckless. When we qualified for the EU LCS in December, I wanted to add a clause in the contract with Giants that they let me play as the AD carry when we played against him, but they called me insane. I don't want to say now we can see why, because there was just a whole heap of different things in that game that didn't go their way.
Yeah, there really was. The thing that stands out for me in this particular matchup, and the fact that Pepinero played ADC, is that you're putting yourself into a position where you have less high-level competitive experience. And we noticed it in the very early levels. The matchup of Lucian plus Nautilus should have done a little bit better into Sivir, Leona. They got pushed in heavily. They let themselves get pushed in. And Crepo was actually alluding to the fact that maybe some of the decisions they were making in the duo lane were not necessarily the best. Add to that, you've then put Adri against Febivin, who is one of Europe's best performing mid laners, on LeBlanc, one of his most impressive champions. You've literally given yourself one of the most difficult games you could play.
Yeah, and then the question to me is, of course, we have that quote. Well, what do you think it is? Is it a Hail Mary trying to throw your opponent off because you think that you might not be able to beat them standard, also knowing that the bans that haven't come out before are probably going to come out versus Fnatic? How do you see it?
My instinct is telling me that it's Pepe Nero's bravado. Because when you look at Giants and you look at how well Pepe has performed all year long, how they play, how they carry games, if he's gone out of his way to put a clause in his contract to say, I will face him, I will fight Reckless, one of Europe's saviors when it comes to players, I think it's Gusto. Unfortunately, it may have been in the wrong direction.
Yeah, they do have a little breathing room round, but you never know what comes and bites back at the end of the season or as things go along, but we will see. On the side of Fnatic, though, fantastic game. Echo in the top lane. Third time we see him. A different role, this time in the hands of Huni. And it went quite well, but they put a lot of resources in him early as well.
Yeah, they really did. Fnatic focused a lot. And I'm actually going to talk over some replays that we strung together if we can get those up on your screen. And Fnatic did to Giants what Origin did to Unicorns of Love. They made a very big statement. You look at the Echo play and you'll notice that Huni gets, engaged on by Frederick. But he's got the backup of Reignover's Rek'Sai. And, First Blood was secured with Reignover and Huna early in the game. You're going to see the next clip in a moment or two. Look, again, Reignover is holding Huni's hand. For the first 12 to 15 minutes of the game, Reignover may as well be a top laner. One of the most impressive things about that particular play, Huni actually got the aggressive chrono break because he kept them in play for so long that he got the damage down. And again, Reignover is going to save Adri's life, preventing him getting in there and making sure Huni was set up to carry.
Yeah, definitely. And as we said or heard yesterday from a couple of people, using that chrono break offensively is one of the hardest things. And here, yesterday we saw it comboed with the Bard at times, this time with Leona on Yellowstar. Starting to think if that was a plan all along with the support bans they had in there as well, but that was a perfect combo.
It really was. And if you want to contrast what Elements did yesterday with the Bard, they were trying to use the Tempered Fate, the Bard ultimate, to sort of root people in place, make them golden, let the Echo Ghost catch up, and then use chrono break for damage. Solar Flare will do something in a very similar way, arguably different levels of ability, but you can see how much more accurate Fnatic were when they set up their fights in mid lane, when they were running around Huni. Huni was also dancing on the side of over-aggressive, but he had the tools, he had the shields, he had the dashes, he had the chrono break to survive, so just really well executed.
Yeah, well executed by them, and maybe from Giants losing sight of the basics a little bit with the frivolry going on. We actually have one more replay, which is an actual team fight where we can see Echo and kind of the coordination that comes from the team.
And this is just really, really impressive. First and foremost, look at Huni. He's about to get surrounded by 3, but Fnatic have got a good read on the situation, and they've responded. So Solar Flare gets the slow, then you're going to see the parallel convergence for the stun, and the aggressive chrono break for the damage. Huni hits everything with the help of Yellow Star's Leona, and then they carry on to close out the game. Just very, very well executed, and I think with that win now, 6-0 Fnatic. Their next game is Origin next week. Origin play next against Rocket. Let's assume they win. I know this isn't like public or I don't care, but Fnatic versus Origin is the match of the week for week 4, and it should be in everybody's books.
Yeah, it would be, of course, nice for Rocket to win that game as well, but for us, the collision course of the Fnatic versus Origin, we're still on it, and we need to take a break, but as said, Rocket is going to be setting up on stage to take on Origin in our next match, and while we're away, be sure to check out llesports.com for information on how to join us in person for our summer finals. And with the European LCS heading to Stockholm this summer, we asked around to find out which player on our stage is the OP Swede.
If there would be a Swedish championship and you had to choose from the AD carries, then I believe that Reckless would still be the one. I think he's the most famous in Sweden as an AD carry, and he has way more experience than everyone else.
Swedish Supertown?
Yeah, all Swedes. And then you have to choose the AD carry.
Like who I would take?
Yeah. Who would you take?
I would choose Swedish players when I have Danish players. I would have Reckless as AD carry and Godfred as support.
It's kind of hard for me to say actually at the moment because I haven't played a lot with Björnan or Vardax. But from what I see in the LCS and stuff, I say Reckless for sure.
In my opinion, I think Björnan is the best of us right now.
I've said that ever since like spring playoffs, where he showed up really, really big against SK in their third place game.
Reckless is probably the best in terms of like mechanics, but I think Yarnan would be really cool to play with. I played with him before.
If it would be between me, Reckless and Vordax, I would be the best. I think I play a bit more aggressive than the rest.
Actually, Vordax is fine too because he's a really cool guy and I played with him too.
Obviously I want to choose myself, kind of because we're 3 Swedish AD carries and obviously I want to be the best. But I honestly think it depends on playstyle.
The nicest of us, I would say, Vordax, he's like a golden boy in my opinion.
I would choose myself.